is happening in the generative AI space. So you should be getting some understanding of that also. The more that you can get will be better. So large language models, generative AI, ChatGPT, you must be using a lot. I hope. Prompt engineering is not something which might be very difficult to pick up. It's very simple to understand, and you can pick it up very fast. And then AI strategy and consulting overall will be kind of a blanket term which you can use for all these things. And even when you talk about from big data technology perspective, I have seen a lot of work is happening at the AI ML layer of big data, where you're trying to build applications which is distributed across the clusters of big data that we talk about. But again, underlying part would be a sound understanding uh, the machine learning and deep learning uh, algorithms, and back that up with the ML ops. So if you ask me, I would say focus on ML ops, go through generative AI and large language models for sure. And rest of this stuff would be something like that that will fall in place as you start going into that particular direction.
Thank you so much, Amitendra, for giving us an overview of the hottest skills in AI/ML space in 2024. Someone is saying basically your voice is not clear, but it's pretty much clear to me. So maybe like for other folks, please do let us know in case the voice is not audible for our speaker. We'll just do a quick check here. And also, as we have talked about the skills here, let's talk about the trending career paths, which will be in demand in 2024, not only in 2024, even today, 2024 and future and beyond as well.
Sure. So let's start with the data engineering concept over here. So data engineers are the one which will help with the data pipelines that we talk about. So people who have thorough understanding of working with the different types of databases, data structures, and data warehousing concepts, and then they can map those data points to some kind of analysis which needs to be carried out. That's where data engineers will come into the picture. They're pretty useful in terms of helping data scientists, ML engineers in getting the right data, building the entire pipeline, and making sure that everything is working swiftly. That's what data engineers will be doing. So mostly on the data front, you need to work. Then you have this machine learning engineer. If I talk about, they should have good understanding of machine learning concepts, and their primary role would be in terms of easing out the development and the deployment process. So they should also know how to work with the different ML ops techniques which are there. There are different ML ops platforms. It could be say Docker, Kubernetes, Kubeflow, MLflow, all these tools, or not all these, then probably some of the tools they should be aware of. So their primary role would be to build machine learning pipelines, which would be put in production eventually. And that, as I mentioned, they should have some tool knowledge, some algorithm knowledge. Then you have, say, artificial intelligence domain when you're talking about AI researcher, AI developers. So primary, if you talk about AI researcher, that's more on the side of experimenting with the newer concepts, dealing with the research which is going on across the globes, checking out which will fit in a particular opportunity that as an organization we have, and trying to explore that more. So that is on more on a research side, and that is basically it will involve with working with the newer concepts which is happening in the field of deep learning, machine learning. And of course you should have sound knowledge of all these concepts prior to moving to that particular job role. And you should also learn how to do experimentation with different tools. AI developer, which is basically we are talking about someone who can develop end-to-end uh, AI applications. So basically taking a particular problem, then designing the entire pipeline, designing the entire architecture, and eventually developing it is what AI developer would be doing. Then you have data science. The reason I'm taking it in the last, because data scientist is something which people, most of the people want to become a data scientist. So data scientist is someone who has good knowledge of programming languages. Some of the not all of them, like probably a couple of them you should pick up. Python is the front runner in that. So you have good understanding of programming languages, and then you have very sound knowledge of statistical modeling, machine learning modeling. Within machine learning framework, you are pretty good at different machine learning algorithm as well as deep learning algorithms. You know how to take up a particular problem, how to solve it, how to experiment with it. You know how to fine tune a particular model that you are building. You're also ready to explore new models which are coming into the market. So you keep updating yourself on the job. So that's something what data scientists would be doing. So this is how you can think of different job roles which are there in this particular field.
Oh, sorry. Also, as you were speaking, we actually asked folks, which AIML career path are you aspiring for in 2024 as well? I think we have gotten few responses as well. Naveen basically wants to be a data scientist. Abdullah wants to be wants to basically be machine learning expert. And then Avni wants to be a data scientist. And I can see again others as well. Please feel free to spam the chat with your career paths. I'm pretty sure you're here because you're interested in AIML or already are basically studying AIML or aspiring for a career in AIML. As we have discussed a few of these trending basically careers, which basically no one can replace as of now. We could love to know from these career paths which you see on your screen here. Which one would you want to take up in 2024? So let's do a little bit of visual thinking here. And as the new year is basically almost nearby. So as I see there are a lot of demand for ML engineer, data scientist, and Shalini says either AI researcher or ML engineer. AI developer is very much in demand as well. Abhilash is currently studying AI in DS. That's great. Awesome, folks. I think Dashali has asked an interesting question here. Which one is the best for next 10 years? Dashali wants to be safe and wants to decide accordingly. So what would you suggest, Amit?
Next 10-15 years, if you talk about as a field, as an entire field itself, AI itself is growing with a rapid pace. So anything that you pick up in this particular domain will have a pretty good opportunity in next 10-15 years. It's not that within AI something will die out in some time. It's not gonna happen.
Mhm.
But probably if you ask, probably some of the machine learning terms might be automated going forward. So I would say that focus on the development part, deployment part. So that's what I keep saying. ML ops is pretty important, and towards the deep learning uh, models that you're talking about. Now we have the technology, like we are talking about uh, uh, new GPUs which are coming. They're so powerful, and like other day I was checking about NVIDIA A100 and H100. They have gone to a different level altogether. So lot of experimentation we can do on a large amount of data, large scale data, and also complex models, which is where these large language models are actually doing pretty well. So what I'm trying to tell you here is that going forward, you should learn such technology which will help you in doing distributed computing, where AI and ML model is getting distributed towards different on different nodes, computers, getting trained on the edge devices and all. So that's what you can focus upon. So I would say that learn AI ML concepts and start learning how you can do the parallelized operation or distributed computing. That's what you should think about. But having said that, it doesn't mean that uh, some of the components, some of the field within AI would cease to exist in near future. So anything that you pick up is for sure gonna last for 10-15 years. But within that, you might look at something which has more potential, and that's what I told you.
Great. Thank you so much, Amitindra, for answering that. The Shali and others, I hope that answers your question. Please do let us know if you have any follow-up questions. Also in the Q&A box, it will be very hard to find in the chat box. As you can see, a lot of messages are basically popping up there. So as you have talked about the skills here, as we have talked about the career paths, which will be trending in 2024 and beyond as well. So let's start with the interview prep, hottest questions, in interview, basically basically a student can face potential candidate face in an AI-ML interview. So let's start with the first one here, as you can see. Why basically a question which gets asked a lot is this one. Why did you choose AI/ML as your career path? As I'm asking you this, I would love to know from the audience as well on the chat as well. Why are you basically choosing AIML as a career path? Yeah. Yeah, Mitinder. Am I audible?
Yes, yes. I thought you were asking others.
Yeah, others as well. Yeah, definitely.
So if you ask me this question, why did you choose AI ML as your career path? Basically, I would say that, or probably if I can give you some pointers, think this way that what you want to present over there, that you are very keen at problem solving. You like taking a complex problem and breaking down into smaller component. So first of all, you need to start by expressing your genuine interest in the field of AI and ML. That's what you have to do. And for that, if you want to share a brief personal story or experience that sparked your curiosity and fascination with artificial intelligence and machine learning, that would be pretty good actually. Like example, I could say I have always been captivated by the idea of machine learning and making intelligent decisions. And my interest in AI/ML began during my tenure at a particular bank when I joined, and where I realized that the transformative power of these technologies and how banking was getting entirely transformed at that point in time, which caught my eye. And I started thinking that what all lies ahead in this particular field, and that's how I started. And then you can also, if you want, you can highlight the relevance to your background if you have any, like connect your interest in AI/ML with your educational background. Like I'm a stats graduate, so I can easily connect to that, or any previous experience you have. Explain how your skills and background align with the challenges and opportunities presented by AI/ML. Like I could say, coming from a background in statistics, I saw AI/ML as a natural progression, and the ability to leverage data for intelligent decision making resonated with my passion for it. So that's what I could say. Or I can also mention that how the impact of AI ML on various industries. Some examples I can take, that how I got very excited when I heard that there will be autonomous vehicles, which basically is based on object detection as one of the component. And object detection is where the deep learning algorithms are coming into the picture, and that very idea that through a video you're capturing images and you're identifying objects correctly was very interesting to me. And I started finding more about it, and that's where I started noticing that I have pretty good keen interest in this particular field. So that's how you can start with. Okay. And if you are, say, fresher, if you're fresher, then you can probably you can talk about your academic background if you can, or you can talk about your natural curiosity and eagerness to explore cutting edge technologies. Mention any self-learning initiative that you have taken, like you might have learned Python itself, or you might have done some project on it, some online courses you might have gone in the past. So you can start with that. Then you can also, you have to, whether you're fresher or not, you have to have this problem solving appeal. So highlight the problem solving aspect of AI/ML that appeals to you. Like you can say that, there were certain problems with the traditional approaches. It was very difficult to solve. It could be in genomics. It could be in, say, crime. It could be in banking, fraudulent transaction, which was pretty difficult to catch initially. But with the help of AI/ML, it became easy, and that's where you start getting this motivation that you can solve some real time problem which was traditionally difficult to solve, some complex problem. And that's how your interest started in this particular uh, field. So that way you can frame it in a nice manner. And probably ideally what you should do is you should frame it, write it properly, and practice, and then only you go and talk about it. So many times what happens is that the answer, like when somebody asks you, why do you want to choose this particular field, probably somewhere it, but framing is very important, and that's where you have to start jotting it down, that what you're going to speak in what sequence. That's very important. So knowing is one part, but putting across that in nice manner, in a nice articulate manner is a different thing altogether. So even if you have the idea that why you want to join, just write it down. That will really help you.
Thank you so much, Amitindra, for answering that question. And also, we have gotten a lot of responses why exactly folks want to choose AML as a career. Also, as we move on to the next question here, I have basically shared on the chat here as well. What is the toughest interview prep question you have faced or would want to know an answer to? Basically, how to answer it. You can let us know in the Q&A box. We'll take questions from there as well if we get time. So now let's move on to the next question here. And also this is for you folks as well. So can you describe a specific AIML project you have worked on, including the problem, your approach, and the outcome?
I guess this is pretty important question actually. What I see that when I ask these questions in interviews and what I have seen otherwise also, that when somebody is asked that what kind of project you have worked upon, they simply answer like, I did object detection, or we did credit card fraudulent transaction analysis. So they tell that, and they simply say that we took data and we built a model, or probably little bit more on that. But what you need to understand over here is that what interviewer is looking at is your approach, your understanding at different component of machine learning life cycle. So when you are explaining this particular part, that what project you have worked upon or what problem you have solved, you have to be very methodical and structured. You need to mention the entire life cycle. You might start with this, that we were given this particular problem, and state the objective, and then explain the relevant data that was there over there. Don't just simply say the data was given and then we cleaned it and then we built the model and that's it. You don't have to answer like that. You have to go in detail of it, which will showcase that you have done it. You understand the how the life cycle works. So you will go inside it like, we had data at different sources. We picked up some data from MySQL, which was a structured database, and then I had some unstructured data also. We combined that, we integrated that. There were a couple of challenges over there in integration. You can mention those challenges and how you sorted it out. Then you will go to the next level. You talk about data preparation, and then you can mention that data was huge, but was a complex data. We had lot of ordinal variables. We had lot of other category nominal variables. And for ordinal, we had too many levels. So we started grouping them at a higher level, or probably I started doing hashing or whatever. So what I'm trying to tell you is that until unless you do not showcase that at each level you have thorough understanding, explaining what project you have done is of no use. So go in detail. So you talk about data preparation, you can talk about data transformation, you can talk about feature engineering, you can exactly tell what you have done in that. Then probably you have done some kind of dimensionality reduction. Explain why did you do that? And then you go to the model building. So then when I'm doing model building, probably I'm building a random forest model. So then first I need to tell what all model I have tried. So you can explain that I tried these three models, and I picked up say random forest because it was giving me a better result. But within when I started working on it, the model was probably overfitted, and I started regularizing it. And that's where I tried different hyperparameter values. I tried k-fold cross validation and a random search algorithm to find the best set of hyperparameter. And then I did that. Then I went to the evaluation stage. I evaluated the model further, and I saw model is doing very well. And that I took as a baseline model is what you need to explain. That was your baseline model after doing all these things. And then you went back to the data again, started working again to further fine tune the model. What people are doing, I see, is that they simply build a model. They just try a couple of things at the hyperparameter tuning and they stop there. What you need to do is you need to explain to them that that was something which I took as a baseline. Then I started my experimentation again and again. After a number of iterations, I could I could improve the accuracy by this much, and that was my final model. So you need to explain entirely that this was the problem, this was the entire approach I took, and then you have to start mapping that to a particular business goal. So this is what the outcome is. That once I solve that particular problem, this is how it helped the business, or this is how it was beneficial entirely. So that's how you have to explain the project that you have done. I hope this is making sense to all of you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Amitendra, for answering this question in very much detail. Please do let us know if that basically answers your basically your questions as well about doubts about this question. I see one response here. It was great. Priyanka says, and would love to know from others as well, and also any questions you have for our speaker as well, which you would want to get answered. Let's move on to the next one here now. So the next one here is, can you discuss a challenging problem you encountered in your AML work and how you resolved it?
This one was what we were discussing, right?
Yeah. And also, let's move on to the next question here. What is the difference between supervised and unsupervised learning?
Again, this also they ask a lot, and another question that is asked in addition to these two terms is semi-supervised learning.
Mhm.
So you talk about supervised, where you explain that supervised learning is when you have the label data, and you can give some examples. Whenever you're talking about explaining a supervised learning, do not give examples only as regression and classification as techniques. Give some business example that when we are solving this kind of problem, that's a supervised learning, where we have this sort of data, and our objective would be to predict a particular outcome that you can mention there. And similarly, when you're saying unsupervised learning, you mentioned unlabeled data. Yes, clustering is one example there. Anomaly detection you can do, but then explain that what kind of problem it solves. So some business problem example also you take it up. What I have seen one more thing is that people have good understanding when whomsoever is learning these terms, they have good understanding of what's supervised and what's unsupervised. It's the semi-supervised learning, which is where they get little confused in terms of what the concept is and a good business example on that. So that you need to, that also you need to pick it up. You need to understand that what is a good example for semi-supervised learning. And you can take an example of Google Photos, which is a very good example for semi-supervised learning.
Mhm.
Google Photos is a combination of supervised and unsupervised learning. It's a semi-supervised learning example over there, where you have a small portion of labeled data, but a lot of data is unlabeled. So pick up all these three. So you start with explaining that it's trained on labeled data. This is the example. This the algorithms are regression, classification. Within that, you can mention you have linear regression and you have random forest classifier, random forest regression, and all those algorithms. Give some example, move to unsupervised, and if they ask about semi-supervised, that also you can answer. Okay.
Thank you so much, Amitendra, for answering that question in so much detail. Also, let's move on to the next question here for the interview. Explain the concept of a decision tree in machine learning.
Okay, if you get this question, or for that matter, any of the uh, algorithm. So if you have sound knowledge, then you can start with a technical answer that it is starting with this, like you're having a node, and then you're branching it out at multiple levels. So you're kind of partitioning the data at a different level. And once you explain this, then you can also add over there that in a simpler term, what we are doing over here is we are taking a problem, and then we are creating a kind of a conditional flow chart where we are asking that if one particular property has this value or that value, or based on a logic, which is say a Gini or an entropy that you are choosing, we are branching it out, and eventually this is how it is giving you the prediction. What I'm trying to tell you is that you give the technical answer which is required, but you also add that in a very simpler term, this is how it works, which gives you that gives the idea that you have in-depth understanding of the concept. Okay, so that's how you have to explain. Now decision tree, you can mention that we do it for classification and regression as well, but regression there is a disadvantage, and you need to mention what's the issue with the decision tree regression. It doesn't understand the linearity. So you can mention that although it can perform regression, but it has some disadvantage or it has some limitations, and this is what it is. Okay, so this is what you can mention over there. And then if they ask about one term is pruning. So why pruning is required? So when it model is not generalizing well, it's overfitting, then you go for pruning. So pruning again, then you have different types of pruning over there. Okay, so you have their max depth, you have minimum sample split, you have minimum sample leaf, you have impurity. There's so many things you can do over there. Okay, so you should have good understanding of those terms also, because there might be a follow-up question on that. So this is what you should do. I would say that give a good definition, technical definition that you know, like the one which is mentioned here is a flow chart like structure, which creates certain nodes, and conditionally we branch out the data. Basically, we partition the data and we keep doing until we're left out with only similar class of observation, similar type of observation, and then we give the outcome. In a simpler term, this is what it does. And if you can give with an example, that will be great. Like generally in the classroom, I take example of a bunch of people wants to go for a movie and they are deciding in WhatsApp chat. So then it goes like this, that what time is the movie? That's a very important question, because somebody cannot come before 6. So that's a one condition. If the movie is after 6, yes, I can watch. Before 6, no, I cannot watch. I'm making the decision. And then take that idea and split at multiple questions. There you have your decision tree. So if you explain like that, it will give the idea that you have good understanding, and that's how you're able to explain in a simpler term.
Thank you so much, Amitindra, for answering this question in so much detail. We are getting a few good questions in the chat and also in the Q&A box as well. But before we move on to the Q&A part and also the program introduction, we would love to know what exactly is stopping you from becoming an AIML expert. So you can see a quick poll which is just launched on your screen here. Just one second, please. Yes, you can see a quick pull launch on your screen here, which says what exactly is stopping you from becoming an AIML expert. Now, this one is also multiple choice questions. So you can select multiple options here, because there can be multiple reasons, right? Multiple challenges which you're facing as you're aspiring a career towards AIML. Now that you're here, you're pretty much interested in AIML, which I saw from a lot of your responses. What careers are you aspiring for in AIML? So we would love to know what exactly is the challenge you're facing. So this will give us a good understanding of what are the challenges you're facing or what's stopping you from becoming an AIML expert in 2024. So I'll just read out these options for you. As you're speaking, I see responses have already started coming in for the poll. But for the folks who have yet to respond, so I just read out those options for you. So the first one is I can't find a program with a fully comprehensive curriculum. Second one, I don't have the practical exposure I need to become job ready. So third one, I find it difficult to learn from pre-recorded videos. And the last one, my work schedule won't allow me enough time for learning. So these are the four options here. But in case this does not cover your response, you can let us know on the chat or in the Q&A box as well. Okay, I'll just give 5 seconds more for the poll here. Meanwhile, folks, please utilize this time to put down any questions you have for us. So we'll be moving towards the Q&A part as well after the program review. So I think last 5 seconds for the poll here. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let me quickly end the poll and also share the results with you folks. I can see that we have gotten 72% of the votes for I wouldn't get the practical exposure I need to become job ready, and 33% of the votes for I can't find a program with a fully comprehensive curriculum, and 33% of the votes also for my work schedule won't allow me enough time for learning, and 18% votes for I find it difficult to learn from pre-recorded videos. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. This definitely gives us an understanding on what exactly is stopping you from becoming an AIML expert. So now let's move on to the program introduction here. So the program by IIT Kanpur, professional certificate course in AI and machine learning, comes with a comprehensive and industry-aligned learning path. You also get access to hands-on labs, projects for practical experience, I will be talking more about that in upcoming slides, and all online virtual classrooms. So these are not pre-recorded videos. We actually have online virtual classrooms with live peer and instructor interaction. And the program duration for the professional certificate course in AI machine learning is 11 months, and you can just complete it by giving 10 to 15 hours per week. So I saw a lot of working professionals who have joined us. So this basically makes it very flexible to fit your schedule in case this is something you're planning to take up by IIT Kanpur here. And at the end of it all, you will be getting a program completion certificate from ENICT Academy, IIT Kanpur, as you can see on the screen here, which is for the professional certificate course in AI and machine learning, and also exposure to latest trends like generative AI, prompt engineering, ChatGPT, and much more, which we'll be talking about. Hands-on projects, integrated labs, including a capstone project, which we'll be talking about as well. Masterclasses delivered by distinguished IIT Kanpur faculty. So a lot more, which is ahead. We'll be talking more about that. So let's discuss how this program builds your AI skills step by step. So as you can see here, the steps here. So Amity, can you take us through these steps here?
Sure. So once you start this particular program, you will have your induction, and then you start with the mathematics and statistics essential plus programming refresher, which is very important because what I have seen over the period of time, when people start learning AI and ML, they directly jump to the algorithm. They start thinking that if they know the algorithm, that's sufficient. But what they do not understand, that the solid foundation is very important if you want to eventually become a data scientist, or probably a ML engineer, or even AI architect for that matter. So this particular starting point is where you get the idea about different mathematical concepts, which is very important to from ML perspective, and even the statistical essentials, which is very, very important to understand some of the statistical terms which are used in ML domain. Then programming refresher gives you a good foundation in how Python works, and overall what's programming, and then what are the basics of Python that's covered over there, so that tomorrow when you're using Python as a platform for your machine learning job, you will be well accustomed with writing codes. Then you have applied data science with Python, where we start with the working with data in Python, and we are preparing data for your algorithms. So here we deal with the basic feature engineering that you're supposed to know, you should know, or data transformation that you should know, or probably some data compression techniques, which will be very helpful in building more robust model. So here you're taught some statistical methods, some concepts which will be very essential in doing machine learning project, and that will be dealt with Python. Then once you are ready with working with the data, where you can convert from one format to another, which is suitable for machine learning. Then we move to machine learning algorithms, and we talk about different algorithms which are there, like supervised and unsupervised, to start with at a very broad level. And then within each framework, what all algorithms are there, how do they work, what's the mathematics behind it, and how do you implement on a data set, and what are the challenges you might face on those algorithms, and how do you overcome that. And one very important part about each of these algorithms that people generally overlook is how do you fine tune the model. So it will be focusing on all these areas. Once you are done with entire machine learning, you will move to deep learning with Keras and TensorFlow. So it focuses upon deep learning algorithms, which is primarily based on neural network. So how does a neural network work? And again, how does the math work behind each neural network? And then implement on some real-time problem. How does it work entirely? And you will also learn how to fine-tune neural networks. And there are different types of neural networks also. You have basic neural networks, you have convolutional neural network, recurrent neural network, you have some unsupervised learning also within deep learning framework, like autoencoders and all. So all that will be taught to you. Then you will move to essentials of generative AI, prompt engineering, and chat GPT, which has become a very hot topic these days. So you will be given a good overview of what are generative AI and how they are getting utilized, what are the applications of it, what is prompt engineering, and how you can get better at prompting, and then ChatGPT. How does it work and how you can utilize it? And once this is entirely done, there'll be a capstone project which focuses upon testing your knowledge on all these concepts that you have gone through. So this is a very comprehensive project which tests your understanding on very basics of ML projects and even to the advanced level. So it might focus upon your strategy to handle a missing data, which is a very common problem, to a problem where you have overfitted model and you need to fine tune it further. So something like that, what that's what will be in capstone project. And in addition to that, you will have your electives as well, where you can opt for reinforcement learning, advanced deep learning, computer vision, NLP, and there'll be master classes as well. So this is what the program is.
Thank you so much, Amitendra, for taking us through these steps here of the program. Also, I think you already mentioned about the electives here. So elective come as a part of the program. They are optional. So we don't charge anything extra for that. It is up to you if you want to take up these amazing electives which cover the program here. So we are getting a lot of interesting questions in the Q&A box here. And also as we are live on our YouTube channel as well, we are getting few questions from there as well. We'll be taking those questions pretty soon. Now let's talk about how we can master in-demand tools, libraries, and platforms as well by this program by IIT Kanpur. Related to this, actually, we have gotten a question here as well on the Q&A box. Let me just quickly check. This is from Gitika here, Amitendra. In the Q&A box for AI/ML, also is the focus still on data structures and good coding skills, is what Gitika is asking.
Come again, what did you say?
For AI/ML, also is the focus still on data structures and good coding skills?
See, good coding skills, if you say it's required, because if I want to build a model, I need to rely on coding. Now, the good coding skill set, so-called, that you're talking about will be very useful when you have to work on data preparation part, your data integration part. And if you want to simply experiment with the ML model, that's a separate thing altogether, where data has been provided to you and you're simply taking that neat and clean data and pushing into a machine learning algorithm, but that doesn't happen. So when you're starting your career, you'll have to you have to get your hands dirty, and that's where the coding skill is important. Now, second part is when you're deploying your model. So deployment is also have become pretty important these days. Not only we want to build application which is leveraging AI ML concepts, and there you need to create certain such deployments which will cater different kinds of requests. It should have some failover option, it will have some error handling options and all. So that's where the coding will come very handy. But having said that, do not think of you as a working as a Python developer or as any programming developer. Basically, you need to learn that from AI and ML angle. So as long as you are good at that, that's sufficient.
Thank you so much for answering that, Amitendra. Also, just one more question before we cover even the tools and platforms which will be in demand. I'm just sharing that with you on the chat here because there are plenty of questions in the Q&A box. It will be hard to find. So very similar to what we're going to cover. So Shalini is asking what all technical knowledge does an interviewer seek in the fresh resumes? So now, as we're talking about technical knowledge, tools and platforms do come in that as well, right?
That's correct. So as a fresher, you are saying, right?
Yes, as a fresher.
As a fresher, if you ask me, I would say your proficiency in commonly used language in AI ML. It could be Python, it could be R. So understanding some basic data structures and algorithms, that's what I would look into it. That's what generally people look. And then they will look your mathematics and statistics foundation, how good you are in those terms. So it could be, say, some linear algebra, calculus, probability, understanding of statistical concepts essential for data analysis and machine learning. And then your proficiency in machine learning fundamentals as well. So knowledge of basic machine learning algorithms, their applications, familiarity with supervised, unsupervised learning, regression, classification, clustering, Then take the same thing to deep learning concepts, like awareness of deep learning concepts, including your neural networks, your CNNs, RNNs. Then data handling and pre-processing techniques. So ability to clean pre-processed data for analysis and modeling. Experience with data wrangling and feature engineering. So those things you should be very good at. And then you should also be aware of some frameworks and libraries, like it could be, say, TensorFlow, Keras, PyTorch, Scikit-learn. Okay, and if you can get some understanding on cloud computing, that will be little pretty good. And then not to forget, uh, moving towards MLOps. So that's where your versioning will come into the picture. So your version control, you can use Pachyderm, you can use MLflow, you can use Qflow, all that. But that would be probably a tad advanced for a fresher. But if you want to go into that particular direction, you can acquire knowledge on that as well.
Thank you so much, Amitendra, for answering a few questions here and also covering the in-demand tools and libraries and platforms, which this program by IIT Kanpur covers. Also, let's talk about the projects here with real business application and also following up with the capstone project as well. So now for that also, I can see one interesting question here. I'll just share it with you on the chat here. Uh, I think it requires knowledge about the project here. So let me just quickly check as there are so many questions. This is, I think I can see, not the name is not visible. Please let me know what is your name here. So says that being an automotive designer, I'm switching career.
Mhm.
I've what steps to take regarding projects to ensure quick transition and utilizing my experience as well. As this program covers so many industry-based projects and also a capstone work, you can choose to work from. What would you reply to the answer here?
Okay, so transitioning from a career as an automotive designer to a field like AI and ML involves leveraging your existing skills and gaining new ones relevant to the target industry. So what you can do, you can identify some transferable skills, like you might have a creative problem solving. So highlight your experience in creative problem solving, which you have used in your existing uh, in your past organizations. And then you can talk about uh, you have a skill of attention to details, like something like that you can talk about, where you can emphasize your attention to detail, crucial for data pre-processing and model refinement in AI/ML, something like that. And then you should learn AI/ML fundamentals. You should enroll for a course which is little comprehensive, gives you not only about the core concepts about AI/ML, but it should also focus upon some hands-on, and that's the one what we are offering over here. It talks about not only in terms of dealing with the concepts, but you actually go to the lab and there you solve a problem. So that will give you a lot of confidence. And then you can select some relevant projects also, which can combine your design skills with AI, design skills in a sense of automotive that you're talking about, and where you can create some AI driven prototypes. You can start thinking in that line. Probably you can talk about it, that this is the idea that came to you and probably you want to explore in future when when you're on the interview table, which will give the idea that you are able to map how AI is gonna work in a particular domain. And then you can also think from, and I'm giving you answers from your background perspective. So computer vision for design analysis. So you can develop a project using computer vision to analyze design elements, such as evaluating user preferences based on images, or automating design feature extractions. Okay, so all those projects also you can start thinking that these are the kind of things probably you can work upon in future, or probably you can pick up some data, you can practice, do some hands-on practice. The more you do, the better. And you'll be good to start looking for a job then once you finish all this. Don't forget to build your portfolio, which showcases all the projects that you have done. It could be your personal projects, it could be something that you have done in the company. Okay, so that's how you should go about.
Thank you so much, Amitendra, for answering the question. Please do let us know if you have any follow-up questions for Amitendra here. As Amitendra mentioned, the projects are so important for someone who does not have any experience in AI/ML. The program by IIT Kanpur here, which is the professional certificate course in AI/ML, covers these basically projects with real business applications. As you can see, retail, production, BFSI, and many more, and also a caption project to work on, which you can showcase to your future employees, which is very much effective when you can mimic real life business scenarios for true experience, which you can showcase in your portfolio. You get to choose from one of the out of several projects, basically from this program, which you get to work on once you're done with your program here. And also, basically, capstone projects are rigorous in nature and provide great examples of your work for your portfolio and resume. In case you're struggling with your project, you can definitely cover it through this program as well. So, Amity, just one question. You have given us the importance of how important having a project is. Here, the program covers a capstone one as well. So, how important a capstone project is as well? You know, like you get to choose from several domains here. To basically add a capstone projects to your portfolio. So apart from all the projects you already have worked on to this program, but how does a capstone work, project help you showcase your true experience in when you don't have any in AI/ML and you're coming from completely different field?
Well, I'll tell you from it has a twofold impact. One is that you get a lot of confidence after doing it because these projects are quite comprehensive, and it tests your knowledge at different level, right from basic data preparation to an advanced level of model building. So it gives you a lot of confidence once you solve it because you get to work on all the nitty-gritties of data preparation, feature engineering, data transformation, then building the model. Within building the model framework itself, you're trying different experiments over there, and then eventually you're evaluating and deciding that this model is good or bad. So it gives you a lot of confidence. And then second thing is that you can showcase that as a project that you have done. Because of in-depth analysis you have gone through, you can actually write about it, and not only you can write about it nicely, when it comes to the interview, you can explain them that what you have done because you have done it on your own. So I'm saying twofold impact. A, you get lot of confidence after doing it. B, it showcases that you have worked on a project, and you can explain in a nice manner the way I explained to you initially when we were talking about how to talk about project. So it gives you a hands-on experience. It gives you a lot of confidence. It showcases on your resume that you have worked on projects, you have gone in detail, and that's something is what interview is looking for.
Definitely agree. Thank you so much for answering that, Amitindra, as well. So we have talked about the skills here. We've talked about the career paths. We've talked about what this program covers as well. Let's talk about the eligibility and the prerequisites as well of this program. So you need to have prior knowledge or experience in programming and mathematics. A bachelor's degree with an average of 50% or higher marks is required, and 2+ years of formal work experience is preferred. Not compulsory, but preferred. Now, Amitabh, as we can see that it says that we need to have prior knowledge or experience in programming and mathematics. What kind of experience or basically knowledge are we expecting basically aspiring students to basically have before they take up this program?
Well, if they want to go through some basics, I would strongly recommend go through basics of statistics and your mathematics. Within mathematics, you can pick up linear algebra and calculus. Although we do a refresher on that, but still, if you want to start with it, that's what you can do. So basic algebra, calculus, statistical techniques, not techniques entirely, but some basics of statistics like what is a dispersion or what's a mean, median, mode that you talk about, very basic. And then if you can go through some of the programming basics also, that will be very useful. So that's something kind of prerequisite you can cover.
Mhm, mhm. Thank you so much, Amitendra, for clearing that up. So, and also we have global leaders as program advisors as well. So here, Professor Amey Kakri, who's the basically the program director of Department of Computer and Science Engineering at IIT Kanpur, makes sure that Simplilearn basically is delivering as per standards of IIT Kanpur here. And also, as we move on, As we have talked about so much about the careers and the skills which will be in demand in 2024 and also in the future as well. And we have talked about how this program basically builds your skills step by step, and also the industry-based hands-on projects you get to work on through this I program by IIT Kanpur here. And also a capstone project you can choose from several projects you can add to your portfolio, which definitely will help you, giving you that experience of having a real-time working experience which you can showcase to your future employers. So we would love to know, are you interested in enrolling into the professional certificate program in AIML by IIT Kanpur? You can see a quick poll launched on the screen here, which says, would you like to enroll in the program? You can select the option yes to show interest, and I'll be taking you through the enrollment steps of the program. A very quick overview how to enroll and what are the upcoming cohorts, and also the program fee of this program as well by IIT Kanpur. Also, folks who are concerned that I can't join immediately, I have not planned this yet, so that's totally okay. We have many cohorts throughout the year in the upcoming new year, and I will be asking you that as well, like, just to get a ballpark figure, so we will understand when to basically reach out to you with the admission details. So as I'm speaking, I am seeing a lot of interest towards enrollment into the IIT Campus Professional Certificate Program in AIML. So that's good. I would give, like, I think 10 to 15 seconds more for the few of the folks who are still basically responding for the poll here. Take your time. We have 10-15 seconds more as we basically, move on to the enrollment steps of the program here. Dashali, I'll be sharing that, the program fee as well, and Libya as well. I'll be sharing that in the upcoming slide. Please don't worry. Welcome, Tushar. Also, we managed to answer a lot of your questions as promised throughout the session. We have exceeded by a few minutes. I hope that's okay, Amitendra.
That's fine, not a problem.
Sure, sure. Meanwhile, maybe you can browse through the questions here, and if you find some time, you can basically answer them as well, as we are already out of time. Fine, folks. I think I see that folks are still responding for the poll here. I think I'll just give 5 more seconds. So last 5 seconds for letting us know through this poll here. Are you interested in enrolling into the professional certificate program in AIML by IIT Kanpur? You can see a quick poll on your screen which is launched, where you can share your interest towards enrollment by selecting yes in this poll here, which I see a lot of you have basically opted for. That's great. We'll be taking you through the enrollment step of the program pretty soon, and just giving you much more details about the program which we have covered so far. Awesome. Last 5 seconds, folks, for the poll which you can see on your screen. You can share your interest there. Are you interested in enrolling into the professional certificate program in AIML by IIT Kanpur here? So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let me quickly end the poll. Thank you so much for sharing your response for this poll. Now, for the folks, which I saw a lot of you have shared interest in enrollment into the IIT Kanpur's professional certificate program in AIML, let me quickly take you through the enrollment step and the program schedule as well. So the learning consultants from Simplilearn will be reaching out to you with admissions detail. These are the 3 simple, easy steps they will be basically letting you follow and guiding you as well. So you need to basically submit an application to us, ask us at simplilearn.net. And then your application will be going for review, will be reviewed by IIT Kanpur. And based on that, you'll be getting admissions offer letter from Simplilearn's learning consultant. And obviously, we'll be giving you a much more detailed walkthrough of the program as well. If you need assistance, that is something I'll be asking you towards the end. Also, the enrollment schedule and the program fee. So the classes will be starting, this is the immediate cohort. The classes will be starting on 20th Jan 2024 next year. And the induction for this particular cohort will be on 3rd Jan 2024. Also, the program fee, which a lot of you asked, is 1,53,400 INR rupees, including taxes. And also, I think someone did ask that if there are any EMI options available. So we do have that, and it is available for as low as 5,220 rupees per month. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to us at askus@simplilearn.net. I'll share that email ID in some time. And also, just to let you know, we have very limited cohorts, and also we take very limited folks per cohort as well, in order to make sure that you're getting all the attention that is required when you're taking up this program. Also, moving on, as I mentioned earlier, we would love to know how soon do you plan to enroll into the program? Basically, you can see a quick poll on your screen. With this is for the folks who have shared interest in enrollment, which is a lot of you. So please do respond to this poll and let us know how soon do you plan to enroll. The immediate cohort, which is the first option, which I have already told you, which is starting on Jan 24th, and last three options are within 3 months, 6 months, and more than 6 months from now. These are the ones which you feel like, okay, I'm not sure exactly when to start, but you do have interest in basically joining. So, Amitin, meanwhile, while they are voting for this poll here, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for an amazing, interesting, another interview prep masterclass. And it's always a pleasure to have you. Would you like to say something to the audience before you leave?
Thanks, Rasha. I would just say that that once you have joined this particular webinar, it seems that you have interest in AI and ML. I'll strongly recommend that pursue this particular field. It's gonna give you a lot of advantage in coming years. So on that note, I'll stop here and I'll sign off, and probably I'll see you some of you in some other forum. Thank you guys.
Sure, sure. Thank you so much, Amitin. Thank you. Have a good night. Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, folks, one last poll for you as well. You can see a quick poll on your screen. Do you need assistance in enrolling into the IT Campus Professional Certificate Program in AML? You can just let us know through this poll here. And also for you folks, you have been an amazing audience and a very active one with all the engagement we have gotten and amazing responses from you folks. It's always good to see you. Thank you so much. I see a lot of thank yous coming in on the chat here. Thank you so much. And for the folks, which is a lot of you who have basically shared interest towards enrollment into the ID Campus program, we would love to see you in our upcoming cohorts next year. And I wish you for all the best for the career paths you're aspiring for, which you have shared with us warmly. So thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. I see a lot of thank yous coming on the chat here. We actually will be coming up with a lot of new master classes in the next year through these webinars we do. So you can look forward to a lot of them, just like the interview web masterclass one. So thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. It's always great to have you. We actually have one last webinar tomorrow in case you want to attend. I'll just share the basically link to webinars here. You can check it out in case you want to basically register for it. You can basically learn and grow from the excitement of masterclasses which we do. So we have one last webinar tomorrow for basically this year. We'll be closing early because holiday season ahead, right? New Year's and Christmas, right? So you can check out here. We have a very interesting session on cybersecurity, guys. So let me do one thing. Let me just show it to you only. So we have a very interesting session on cybersecurity, and we have a very amazing speaker, expert speaker, Paras Arora, who basically works at Microsoft as a cybersecurity expert. And in case you're exploring and basically want to know more about cybersecurity, we can basically get to know what exactly is happening in cybersecurity and why exactly will be demanded to 24. You can go and register using this link here. See, when you click on this link, this particular landing page will be opening up or by simply done. And tomorrow it is in the same time, 9 p.m. And you can register it by just clicking on register here and putting down your few details which is required for registering. So this is again like an interesting one. This is the last one of this year. And this is something very interesting lined up tomorrow. So folks who are also interested in AML, I'm pretty sure you would love to explore cybersecurity as well. And you can definitely ask questions of AI and cybersecurity as well, because we actually have those career paths which are actually a combo of AIML and cybersecurity in demand, which we'll be talking about tomorrow as well. So please do check it out. And again, like as I said, lovely to see you folks and lovely to have you folks. You have been an amazing audience. Thank you so much, folks. Have a good night and good evening wherever you're joining us from. Thank you. Thank you, folks. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. See you tomorrow in case you're joining.